Welcome to the REI Hacker Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of real estate success. Join us as we dive into the journeys of top investors, mentors, and industry experts. Learn from their experiences and navigate the highs and lows of the investing world. And now, let's hand it off to our host, Benson Juarez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today on this episode of the podcast. I'm really excited. My friend Shaun Young was with me. He is a wholesaler. He is a wholesale coach. Him and I have been friends for many years now, and he is really growing his business, REI World Solutions, bigger and faster than ever before. It is a virtual assistant company, and I wanted to bring Shaun on board to give us kind of an update on what he's working on and what's going on with REI World Solutions, and really just help us understand how we can actually execute all of these amazing ideas we have going through our heads as entrepreneurs. And oftentimes it's just, we got the vision, but we really need to figure out where the rubber meets the road. How do we get everything done every single day that we need to, that will help us accomplish our goals? So Shaun, thank you so much for being with us, bro. I appreciate it.
Benson, man, thank you for having me, man. This is like a family reunion. We're like family, brother. We go way back. We go way back.
Way back. We do. I mean, you're one of the first people in the industry that I really had a bond with. There's so many people just come and go, and it's kind of a revolving door, and that's business in general. But we were able to build some strong relationships early on because we saw that we were both kind of growing, right? And
absolutely,
how do we help each other do better? How can we help each other, with a larger audience, advice? Sometimes we even I don't say that we ever cried together, but we had some woes that we talked about.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. I mean, that's like you said, it's the nature of the business, man. And it's good to have someone like yourself who I can, always talk to, who has been through the trenches, who has gone through the shifts, the changes, had the ups and downs. That's very important in our industry, is that you find like-minded people to surround yourself with. And from day one, I knew that we were a good fit. So I'm glad to be on your show today to share with your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the first things that you did for me was you introduced me to the family reunion, which
absolutely,
I just happened to be wearing this shirt today.
I see that.
A good group of people, like you said, like-minded individuals coming together in a mastermind format to support each other and just, help each other, execute, get things done, introductions. And so I'm thankful for that too, because it was really a powerful thing in my business, and for Privy to just meet all those high value people, just operators, people that are getting stuff done, just high executing entrepreneurs.
Yep. Got to surround yourselves with A players, guys. It'll raise your game. They say there's a phrase that says you're the sum of the 9 or 10 people that you hang around the most. So if you're hanging around 10 people and 9 are winners, you're going to be that 10th person that's a winner. It's just how it works.
Yep. And so you're still doing coaching, you're still doing deals, but you've really kind of started to step up your game with REI World Solutions, your virtual assistant company. Tell us about what that company does, and then let's really dig in and look at why does it even matter? Why are virtual assistants so important in people's businesses?
Man, great questions. Great points, Vincent. For me, guys, I came right into the industry. I hit the ground running. I had some success right away. My first deal was like a $72,000 lease option deal. Within 45 days, I had another 11 deals under contract. Ended up closing on 7. So I felt to myself, man, this business is super easy. This is gonna be like taking candy from a baby, right? No, you got to have processes and things in place. So what happened is I didn't get any more after that 7th deal closed. I didn't get any more deals for a long time. I'd say maybe 8 months or so before anything ever happened. It was literally crickets. And the reason being, guys, is because I didn't have systems and methods or processes in place to be able to follow up with folks that I had spoken with, 6 months ago. I thought, hey, they're not buying today, then they're not buying ever. On to the next one, right? That's not how business operates. But you definitely need some help with organizing all that. So that's what I did, guys. I heard that you needed help. Hired my first virtual assistant, didn't know what I was doing. That virtual assistant, was out of there within like a week. Hired another one, same process. Maybe they might have lasted 3 weeks, but I kept having these issues. they would disappear, or like a family member would die, or their internet would be down forever. I mean, it was all these challenges I was running into. And I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I can't be the only person in our industry that's facing these challenges. So I formed my own virtual assistant company, guys, so that I could solve these problems for myself first and then help others in our industry.
Oh yeah. And that's the scary part about a virtual assistant is, they're not coming in the office every day. You don't get to meet them face to face, shake their hand, look them in the eyes. So that bond isn't there. And so it's easy for them to just kind of like disappear one day because they feel like, you're the other side of the country. They're never going to meet you. They're never going to talk to you. So what does it matter if they just ghost you?
Exactly. And that happens more than it happens more than not. And a main factor behind that is because a lot of times we have it in our heads that we need to find like a, $5 an hour VA, $6, something like that. We're always looking for like a super economical route to go, right? As entrepreneurs. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there is a phrase that says you kind of get what you pay for. And that holds true even in other countries, guys.
Right.
So if you're paying your VA, little to nothing, and you're just hiring them to do tasks for you here and there, how are they able to sustain a livelihood, by you paying them $5 here or there? And so they've got to help other people, right? They're all over the place helping everybody else. So now you've got your data getting crossed with other people. It turns into a nightmare when you don't do it the right way. So that's why a lot of people are actually deterred kind of from getting VAs for all the reasons you mentioned and for the ones that I just stated as well.
Yeah, there's those horror stories out there, but it's always through somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, right? Where something
kind of
bad
like
happened.
A myth, right?
But at the end of the day, they're just an employee. They're a contract employee, like everybody else is. It's their 1099. They just happen to be in another country, and you're right. They've got food they have to buy, and they've got rents and mortgage payments, and they've got all this other stuff. But if you're not paying them a good amount of money that is up there with the industry standards, then it's easy for them to be like, yeah, I'm moving on to go do something else. And so they're able to build that loyalty with you. But aren't there some things you can do to build loyalty that is different than just what you pay them? Because there's always somebody that will pay more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, guys. There's always someone willing to pay more. So really what we do, and even as an organization, is we act as the HR department between ourselves and our clients. Because that's a huge factor. How does the VA schedule time off if they do need time off? How do you, implement other tasks to your VA, or how do you pay them? All of these are challenges that, you definitely have to consider up front before going into this business, or you'll start it and stop it constantly because you'll be thinking you're doing something wrong. And the only thing that you're doing wrong is you're not doing it the right way from the beginning. And that's all.
Right. Yeah. And I've had those situations, and people have brought these up too before in the past, where like they want to go and they want to hire a VA to do something they just don't want to do themselves. So like the follow-up, right? Like, for example, they might go hire a VA to go do follow-up, but the person who's hiring them has never done the follow-up themselves, and they're expecting the VA to be able to do it when they've never done it effectively. So what's like the proper process to bring in a VA and to actually start a role?
That is a great question, Benson. And that is a challenge, again, that a lot of people have, because they're like, when should I hire a VA? Should I do a deal or 2 or 3 or 10, or should I get a VA now? My suggestion is to get a VA now. Get a VA now, right away, if you have the economic bandwidth. And as you are going through the process with your VA, you are learning the processes as well. You're doing it as well, but you need help doing this. If you have full time, do it yourself. If you someone who has a job, like I'm sure the majority of the people out here are listening, they have lives. I'm going to tell you probably want to start with a VA to help you out from the beginning while you are both simultaneously doing tasks together, so that you have a respect and an understanding for what they're doing, and vice versa, so the expectations aren't skewed. Like you said, how can you hire someone to do a task that you have no understanding of yourself? You don't even know, you don't know what it is. So I get it. However, I don't say to cripple yourself and wait to do it too much unnecessarily either. So it's a fine line to walk, but That's again,
Yeah.
that's why you should go with a VA agency versus just hiring freelance VAs. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, because there's some tasks that definitely are, heavier lifts, like
Mhm.
follow up and doing stuff on the phone, and like heavy process type situations where you maybe you wouldn't want to hire a VA right out of the gates, but like you said, if you're 9 to 5 job and you're a W-2
Mhm.
employee, there are some like really tedious tasks that you can take off your plate that a VA can help you with right out of the gates, even without having any specialized knowledge on
Mhm.
like your product or your industry. So those people can help to free up some time so that you can come in as the visionary and as the manager and perfect the process that needs a little bit more into it to make it work, right? So there's like that,
Mhm.
there's a way of bridging the gap, that where you're not waiting forever and perpetually putting it off, but you
Mhm.
can get them to do some work for you so you can free up the time to really detail those specialized tasks and create a process flow.
Absolutely. Super important, brother. That is super important. So again, guys, if you're unclear, we're gonna say it again. If you got a 9 to 5, a full-time job, you need a little bit of help. Unless you're gonna have the ability to come home, pull the do the market research, pull lists, run comps, jump into the dialer, spend hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of dialing, farming out there to get leads, because that is what a virtual assistant, again, like Benson says, these are tedious, time-consuming tasks that are really below your pay grade, and your organization doesn't deserve you to spend that time there. You should be dedicating your time to how to get more business for your organization. So that's what a VA again can do from the beginning. And it's crucial that you hire the proper way. I don't suggest hiring freelance VAs to get started when you're brand spanking new. You've got to get with an organization that understands the processes and that has processes in place to actually help you when you come on as a client to establish, to hit your goals. They're not just throwing you a VA and say, okay, have at it, pay us, once a week or however, frequent you pay the VA. No, you need, we have what's called a client relation manager, right? The client relation manager is acts as the interim between the VA and the client, to ensure that the client's needs are always being met and that the client themselves actually have education on what the VA is doing. So they don't have to do the task, but they are being educated on what the VA is doing so that they know how to monitor and manage that VA alongside us as well.
Yeah, I can see that being very, very helpful, because
Mhm.
a lot of the people that are in the business that are trying to get this going too, or they're learning business in general, like they come from the W-2 world.
Mhm.
And so maybe they're not great managers. Maybe they're not good at managing other people's tasks and
Mhm.
making sure the KPIs are being hit and having one centralized place where like all the tasks are being managed. So what a lot of people do when they hire VAs for the first time is they got somebody who potentially are paying full time, and they don't even have like their plate of work full, because they don't know what to give them. They're like, "Oh man, I hired this VA. I had an
Yeah.
idea of what I wanted them to do. They finished it. Now what?"
Yeah, they did that in like a day,
Yeah,
and they're done. Like now, like you say, now what? So yeah, and that happens a lot out there, Benson. Like more than you would believe, brother. So many people that are just they fit that mold, just like you said. Like man, I don't know what to have them do. They knocked that out in a couple of hours.
right. And that really is
Mhm.
one of the issues too, is when someone's thinking about getting a VA, like really like breaking down what they think that VA should be doing, right?
Mhm.
What's going to keep them busy for 8 hours a day? That's a long time. That's 40 hours a week, potentially, if you hire a VA on as full time, that
Yep.
you have to keep them, full with tasks.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes why some VAs leave, is they think, well, I'm not getting enough work here.
Mhm.
These guys are probably going to go out of business. I need to start looking for something else to do.
Man, you're nailing it right on the head, man. You're hitting it right on the head. That's exactly the things that happens. That's what happens. It happens, guys. So that's what I'm telling you. Take my advice, guys. Take me and Benson's advice. We have done this for a long time. We are around a lot of high players and low players, so we have a great understanding of this business. Trust me, guys. There's no way around having a successful business if you don't have systems and processes and a way to execute that in place. It has to be there at all times. It's no different than saying I want to get in shape. All right, I can give you the formula, which is working out, eating properly, but it's the execution on a continual daily basis that will give you the results. And that's where that help comes in. That's where that VA comes in. They're that person that's going to do the lifting for you. They're going to do the nutrition. They're going to eat properly for you while you're doing, that's what you need. That you need that. There's no way around it.
So when
you're going to find anomalies. You're going to find anomalies. You're going to find people here or there that say, "Oh, I did it by myself back in 1988, or something." Yeah, yes. We're in a new day and age, guys. We're in a new day and age. And I don't want to say there's a thing as negative competition, but you definitely have to be aware. If we've got a bowl of dog food, we've got 20 dogs around it, and it's only one bowl here. We can't not acknowledge that there's 19 other dogs that we're competing against to get this dog food, right? We can't. We got to be aware of that. So how do we work either with those other dogs or, so that's what I'm saying here, guys. You got to play smart in this business, or you got to work smart.
Yeah, so I really like the idea too with the process that you're describing with your company, where when you hire a VA, you're really getting two people, right? You're getting the VA themselves that are really focused on your daily tasks that you have them do, but you're also getting that manager,
that point of contact,
is watching them to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing on a daily basis too, and a lot of that is like out of sight, out of mind. So like there's that extra layer of, I guess, risk mitigation that VA is not going to go sideways or go crazy and disappear with your data, or just not work, just sit at their desk and tool around.
Indeed. Absolutely, man. Again, these are things that we've all considered. So we have a monitoring system that monitors all of our VAs. We allow clients access to that as well. However, their VAs give them a daily report at the end of every shift. They get a weekly report at the end of every shift. That customer relation manager who's the interim between the VA and the client, they are also providing a monthly report to that client as well on what's going on with the client, giving ideas on ways to improve the business. It's a phenomenal process, guys. It's a phenomenal process. And again, like Benson said, you're basically getting a team of people, because that customer relation manager is not the only person that's going to be supporting you. The VA also has a trainer who's also supporting you as well. So you've got three people that are working basically for you for the price of one, so to speak.
Right. It seems like just so much better way of doing it than trying to figure out how to manage a VA. And also too, like, this process isn't something that you invented, right? It's something that VAs understand, right? So they're either going to report to somebody who doesn't know how to manage, or they're going to report to somebody who does know how to manage and how to keep them on task and make sure they're looking forward, right? Like, okay, we got a big project here in 2 weeks. You need to finish all this other stuff first before we can move you on there. So there's like this whole kind of like project management mentality that CRM needs to understand about the entrepreneur's business, will help them keep them on task, right?
Yeah, thanks. That's it. You need that. You got to have someone helping you out. They're based like a manager for you. They're a supervisor for your team. And like Benson said, you might not feel the confidence to yourself that, hey, I could manage a bunch of people. I don't even feel like I'm a manager or a leader. I haven't developed it there yet. But it doesn't stop you from being able to go into business. It doesn't stop you from being able to go into business. So there's a phrase that I like to use. I get it from my good friend Tom Kroll, good friend of both of ours, which is fail your way forward. You got to take massive imperfect action and be willing to fail your way forward. However, when you surround yourselves with the right people, you can take more calculated risks. And that's all this is here, guys. We're saying, yes, there's an investment that will be made in yourself, either on the front end or on the back end when you're losing out and giving up and moving on to the next thing that you think is the next greatest thing.
And so you talked about the trainer, which I think is pretty cool. So when you're going out, and let's say I want to hire a VA, and you're like, okay, Benson, what do you want them to do? Right. So you basically break down like, okay, here's the job description. This is everything that this person, I want them to do. Right. And then so once that's built, you're going to go out and place an ad, right, on some network that's saying, okay, we need this position filled. Who has all of these skills? Who has everything that this job description is basically saying, right? That's kind of the process.
Not for us. We don't place ads. We have it all internal. It's my company. I actually went to the Philippines, so I've established relationships out there. I've got my own manager. I've got my own process out there, so everything is in house. We definitely source for positions just like you would here in America. We post for positions, but we've got a large group that are already in our funnel, so to speak, that meet our criteria. They've applied for our position. They've taken our DISC test. They've taken our personality test, our English test, our computer systems test. So they're in our database, if that makes sense. So when a client does come on board, exactly what you said happens. We have what's called a strategy session where we figure out what are their goals, what do they want to do, what tools do they use. If they don't have any, we'll make recommendations. And then within 48 hours, we assign them a virtual assistant based on those needs. So just like you said, that's very important that we're not just giving them somebody, a VA. No, we're giving them a VA that actually matches the needs of what their job description actually entails. That's
Right.
important.
Yeah. So, and maybe I said the ad wrong, but you have to put something up on some board someplace, so or even the people internally can see.
Sure,
Here's a new
absolutely.
position that's open, and then they can be like, "Oh, I fit that," and then they have to apply because there's going to be more than one person who wants that position, right?
Yep. Every time we provide 3 opportunities for the candidates, and some candidates don't want to interview the VA. They just want to say, give us the best, and that's what we want, and we'll go with that. And some candidates say, hey, can I interview? Absolutely. So we'll provide them, like you say, because it's no one wins. We're not just giving this out. It's a competition. So we'll send them 3 VAs. They'll have a Zoom session. The client will have the opportunity to ask any questions they like, run through some role plays if they need be, and then make a selection. It's a super smooth transition, super smooth process for the client.
Oh yeah. So the person can interview all the VAs to figure out if there's a culture fit, right? Because that's, I think, probably
Yep.
what at that point you're trying to get right, is because your service has already made sure they have the technical skills to be able to fill the position. Now it's up to the entrepreneur or the manager to check to see if they're a cultural fit. Right?
Absolutely.
How do they vibe, right? You can't tell everything through Zoom, but if you get 3 people on a Zoom call and you're asking them questions, you can see, how they answer questions, how they perform under pressure, you know, just a bunch of other things you could ask them that will give you, say, okay, I like this person better than the other. Okay, I feel like this person would be a better fit for our team than this
Yep.
person, right?
That's exactly it. That's exactly what that session is for, and they do exactly that. They're like, hey, I like Sally. Sheila was really strong, but Sally seems like she's super excited about what we've got going.
Right.
So that's exactly it, man. It's a cultural fit. You want to make sure that you're giving the final opportunity to that client to bring on someone who is going to grow with their organization. We're not again, we don't place people to do a task for you. We're placing team members in place for you for the long term. Our average client stays with us for 11 months. So we're placing team members. Yeah.
Yeah. So once that happens and they interview the 3 people and the entrepreneur is like, okay, I like this one. What's kind of the next steps after that? Is there like another onboarding process that your company manages to get everybody in
Yes.
place so that they can start off on the right foot?
Absolutely. So after their VA is selected for them, there's what's called an onboarding session. That onboarding session is with the VA, the VA's trainer, and the customer relation manager, so that everyone's on board. During that session, how to, if you as a client are taught how to communicate if you have any issues or concerns. Let's say you want to make a switch. Let's say you thought you wanted Sally, but you decided you want a guy as your VA named Jim or whatever his name is, but you just want a guy. We'll make that switch for you at any time. So we tell you how to do that. How do you pay each week? How do you monitor your VAs? How do we monitor them? It's just a quick overview to ensure that they understand that we're here to basically act as an HR department for them to ensure that they have success. And
So
then
you
from
mentioned
there,
that HR
they're handed
department
off.
scenario. Like if it wasn't virtual and like I had to like pay employees, right? HR, I mean, there's a lot of overhead there, right? You got to
A
have
lot.
some human resources manager, and then they've got
Mhm.
payroll and they've got systems, and they have to track all the W-2 and stuff and withholdings. I mean, there's a lot
There's a
there,
lot.
right? So with with your VA service, you're basically handling all of that as part of the monthly or hourly rate, right?
Absolutely. There's a one-time onboarding fee and then there's an hourly rate. Just like you say, there's a minimum of 20 hours per week for any of our VAs. So again, so if they're dedicated to you and your company solely, it's outside of our company's policy to work for any other organization. So they're dedicated to you, period. So 20 to 40 hours is the work week, and yeah, it's a great process.
If they're doing 20 hours a week, though, shouldn't they be allowed to work for someone else as well? Because that's basically only half time.
We don't allow for that. We don't allow that. And the way that we have our pay structure is that they're still going to be able to make a decent living, to where they're not going to be enticed to want to go do jobs that may be there or may not be there. They've got a solid, a dedicated client that they're going to be with. That's more advantageous for all parties involved.
Interesting. It'd have to be a unique situation for them to be able to work half time but still pay for everything. But I guess that could be like dual income home households, right? That might be a scenario where that would work well. Okay, so you get them onboarded, and then the work starts. So like, what's next after that? Because I can see that's right there where some problems probably start to arise, where they're just not communicating properly, or maybe the expectations weren't set the way they're supposed to. Like, what can happen there at that point if you're not onboarded properly, or you don't have the CRM?
Well, for us, we literally hit every angle. So we teach them how to communicate with their VA from the very beginning. There's particular tools that we recommend that they utilize, and we have them download it right then and there on that session, so that we make sure that it's in their phone. There's no like, okay, I'll get it later. No, we make sure that they 100% have a way before they end that call on how they're going to communicate. We also have a customer agreement, a client relationship agreement as well, on things that we're going to deliver and things that we expect from them also. And we have all of our clients sign that. So that may be a little unique or different than some other organizations that are out there. But again, we want efficiency. We want effectiveness. We want methods in place that are going to give our clients success. We don't want to just collect money and then they move on after they're frustrated. We actually want our clients to succeed. So we are from that very first onboarding meeting, providing them with all the necessary tools that they may or may not have. Again, some clients don't know what dollar system to use. They don't know what list source to pull or what CRM to use. So we'll knock all that out for them during that session, get everything lined up. Their VA starts the following week, the following Monday after that onboarding session. Regardless of what day in the week it is, we always say it's going to start that following Monday. So it's a fresh start. The VA reports to that client. We teach that client how to have meetings with the VA. We even participate with a meeting with that client and their VA to show them how to run a meeting, a team meeting. I mean, guys, we really go above and beyond. We've covered all angles to ensure that this is going to be a smooth process. And like Vincent said, it's not simple. I couldn't do this by myself. It's not Shaun doing this by myself. I've got a team that helps me accomplish this, as well as my own VAs, my own personal executive assistant, my own VAs through my own company that do different tasks for us as well. So, yes.
So, what are some of the main tasks that a VA would be good for? So, what are the things that they're good at? And it will range, right? But there's also some things where like it's probably better not to hire a VA for certain things as well. Can you break those down for us?
Sure, guys. When you're first getting started out there, I say that some of your first hires are going to be for cold calling, someone who could do cold calling, admin tasks for you, list generation, can run basic numbers for you. When it comes to higher level positions, like when you're going deeper into the negotiating, that would be what we would consider an acquisitions manager. And we do provide acquisitions managers, but they are at a different rate of pay. You pay them at a different rate, is what I'm saying, because they're accomplishing something totally different for you. They actually are a sales person for you at that point. So it's different, but a VA should be able to do, again, basic admin tasks for you, or any task that you assign them. Cold calling, follow-up, text messaging, sending out agreements, running basic numbers, keeping basic records for you, managing your CRM. We even have bookkeepers. So it's a number of things that a VA can do for you right away from day one. But I would steer away from having someone do acquisitions or your disposition for you right away. And acquisitions is getting that property under contract, getting it signed. Dispoing or dispositions would be matching that or the process between getting that signed agreement over to your cash buyer into the closing process and across that finish line to where everybody receives their checks.
Gotcha. So higher level positions, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously it isn't management positions necessarily, because you guys have managers managing VAs, but those managers are
Mm-hmm.
probably VAs too. They're just higher level
Yeah.
VAs.
Yep, that's it. Exactly. Except they work for me. They work for my company, so I've hired them. That's their role. They've actually been with me, and so they've moved up into different positions within my own organization based on their skill set. All of our VAs, they're all college educated. So that's another huge factor as well. We're not just, again, giving you guys anybody. We're giving you we're giving you the best of the best so that they can stick with you and even bring ideas to the table to help with your organization. They're not just robots. They'll do exactly what you ask, but they'll also be helping you think of streamlined ways to do things a little better. Or, hey, they'll give you feedback. Hey, this list is not working as well as maybe you might have thought. Maybe we should do this tweak or whatever. They're going to provide feedback. They're interactive.
Do you have any success stories that you can share? Like, hey, this is before and after. Here's this company with John doing it by himself, and then here's John 6 months later with a VA. Do you have anything like that?
Man, I've got so many, but here I can throw a couple out there that are super good ones. I've got a gentleman who was he's not even from our country. He's from the UK, and he was here in our country, and he is running out of money, and he's running out of his visa. So he had to make some choices, and he had to make some things happen extremely fast. And he gave a stab at doing wholesaling. His name is Jamie. Actually, I recorded a podcast with him, so he's on my podcast, guys. And so take a look. His name is Jamie Allen. But yeah, he was struggling a bit, a whole lot, and he was almost at the end of his road, going to have to go back to the UK. He had a particular lump sum of money that was remaining. He found me. I helped him out. We got him systems in place. We got him VAs in place. And within 5 months, no, excuse me, within 4 months, he was able to generate $150,000. And we got him on our podcast. Another super success story that these are recent. I'm not telling you 100 years ago. These are all recent stuff. So another very recent one is a client named Rachel, who hired our VAs, and she hadn't done any deals yet. She's a realtor, so she has a license. So she was moving into the world of investing and wholesaling, and just hadn't had any success trying to like dibble dabble in both worlds. She came on board with us, the same process. We put processes, systems, tools, and a VA in place. We gave her 2 VAs, and Rachel was able to close 2 deals within 2 months. However, on that second deal, the client who she bought that deal from had another 32 properties that he wants to offload with her. He just wanted to see how that process went. So since she's closed that deal, she's closed 10 since. But every week he's given her a deal to finish, close up every week. So she's super happy. And again,
Nice.
that's because of systems. That's because of the VA was out there hunting that. She just didn't have the bandwidth to do her real estate job and the tasks that they wanted her to do, along with spending 6 hours, 8 hours cold calling. She just didn't have it. She didn't have it. So things changed for her immediately. So those are 2 great stories, guys. And those are again, very recent. Those are on my podcast as well. Nationwide Real Estate Mastery is the name of that podcast. So you can verify these. They're all on there. And like I said, we've got plenty more. We've got plenty more, guys. And that's what we pride ourselves on. We want to help people. Like I said earlier, we don't just want to collect your money because you want a VA. No, we're dedicated to your success as an organization.
Mm-hmm. You have to be like, you got to treat it like it's your own business, right? And if you do that in a lot of cases, right? Like, with Privy, like there's a lot of people invest in the Privy tool. And so like when someone's not having success, I take it personally. Right. And I know that's how you treat your business too, is
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
because there's good stories, but there could be bad stories too. And guess what people do? They talk. Right. they talk. And if they had a bad experience with your company, then it's a small community. We think it's big, but it is pretty small, and word spreads fast. So,
Yep.
there are companies out there, not necessarily in this space, but in general, you hear about, who just aren't doing things the right way. They don't treat their clients with a level of respect that is adequate, so that they have success too.
Yeah, the client doesn't come number one, and like you say, it's very clear. You can tell. There's always going to be successes. You could dedicate yourself to an organization 1,000%, and they may come up a little short for whatever the reason. But if you know that you and your organization have done and went way above and beyond to provide, what their expectation was, then that's when you can rest easy at night and feel good about yourself. And those clients will recognize that as well. And they're not going to be the ones to go out there and bash you or give you the bad ratings or anything like that, because they know it's probably because of me that it didn't happen. Because, man, this team here, they were all over it, man. I just didn't. They sent me over to sign a contract, and I didn't bring a pen. I had to go back home, and then I came back, and then someone else signed. I mean, it's always going to be stories, guys. But you want to be with an organization when they're handling your business. This is a business. It's not a hobby. When they're handling your business, you got to take it serious, and you got to find an organization who understands that importance. I know all of my clients. We're not so big, and that's by design. We are a boutique style organization. We handle clients all over the nation, all over the world, but we're not such a big organization to where we don't care about our clients. I care about each and every one of them.
Yeah, you don't want to be some place where you're just a number, right?
No.
And there's no relationships there. That's awesome.
Not at all.
Well, where can people go to learn more about this? How can they do research on whether or not virtual assistants make sense for them? And if they wanted to get signed up or to learn more with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, guys, I definitely suggest go out there, do some research on it. I mean, research virtual assistants in the real estate space, see what some other folks are saying about it, and look into some organizations and companies. You don't have to go with mine, but I'd say definitely get your VA. You need a VA for sure. But our company, if you guys want to reach us, it's reiworldsolutions.com. And anyone who's on this call, or anyone who sees this, not this call, anyone who sees this podcast or hears this recording or sees it, guys, use the discount code FREEDOM, because we're looking for financial freedom, and that's what we're in this for. So use that code; it'll get you 50% off of the one-time onboarding fee, guys. And we love to take care of you and help you be one of our new success stories.
Absolutely. And if you are listening or you're on the webpage right now, just look in the show notes and we'll have a link there for you. And then also that promo code so you can get that special discount. But Shaun, we're wrapping up now. Any final words or thoughts for our listeners today?
Guys, final thoughts is I always say this: never wait for all the lights between here and your destination to be green before you go. As soon as that first light is green, you got to go and have faith that by the time you get to that next light, whether it's red, yellow, or green, that you'll know what to do by the time you get to that next light. If you wait for the opportune time for all the lights to be green between here and your destination, which is your goal, you'll never start, you'll never make it. You got to start to win. You got to start if you want to make it, guys. So go out there, fail your way forward, take massive and perfect action, guys, and reach out to folks like me or Benson, folks who are dedicated to seeing the people that they work with actually have success.
Awesome. Great way to close it out, man. Appreciate it. Good seeing you again. Everybody keep an eye out, like and follow this page. We got lots more amazing guests on the podcast coming up here, and share it with others. I think that you probably picked up a couple nuggets from listening to Shaun here, and we're going to have a lot more valuable information that we're going to be talking about with future guests as well. So share that around. Make sure that everybody gets a chance to hear it. Shaun, thanks so much for your time, buddy. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother. Anytime. I'd love to be a guest. Anytime. You have a great day. Guys, go out there and get it.
That's a wrap on today's Real Estate Revelations. Thank you for tuning into the REI Hacker Podcast. Remember, every property has a story, and every deal is a lesson. Until next time, keep hacking the real estate world.